Hi, this is William, and this is Devlog 4 for Unnatural Investigations. So, in this one, I'm gonna actually show off a little bit of the single player. Did do a bunch of changes on some of the features that I had, but alright, so I changed a lot of the models and how certain things work. Still working on rendering and the frames and things to get the frames per second down. One thing that I did notice, a mistake that I made, is I had more than one camera rendering when I was doing the different layers. So I've updated that, and now I don't now it's just the same camera, but it changes things. But anyways, real quick, some of the changes are, you can notice that the demonic crystal has changed, much cooler now, a little floating orb. Another thing you'll notice too, at the bottom right, the UI, you'll see an extra little tab that has like the gas mask, and it's standard. It's not standard ammo. That's your vision, and I'll talk more about that in a second. Another thing too is I changed it now so that instead of having a pop-up to indicate where you can click on and having like a text box that says press this or that, now it highlights it. So same thing for the bodies. But alright, so we'll do the medium. For the single player level, everything's pretty much increased max stats and all that stuff, so make it easier since it's just one person. So yeah, alright. And I also updated the buttons, changed the views to the Q button. So if you look at it now, you can see it doesn't have the effect. I'll work on some different effects later, but that was really hitting a hurt on the frames. So with this one, to let you know that you're in the view at the bottom, I animated the image. And I'll talk to him, and I got a clue already because I'm on easy mode. But I animated it. The main reason was so you had an indication of when you actually, were using it, because again, using it more will have a higher chance of something spawning. So we're gonna go through this level as if you would go through the level yourself. So I already found the ghost, so that clue is good. And then I have the occult view. Again, I updated those. Those are floating crystals too, just smaller versions. And I did add that effect with the sound, so it gives you some cool indication that when you pick it up, it looks pretty cool. I need to collect these. Alright, I am gonna add actual indicator of how many you collected. Right now, you can only tell if you go back to the occult table, but I'm gonna add another one later. And they highlight too. You'll notice when you get close to them. And just a little behind the scenes. What I do is I just shoot a raycast from the camera, which essentially is this light on is this crosshair. Here's the body. The same thing with the body. You get to the point where you can look at it highlights. So now you're gonna actually see some actions. Again, everything's level 10 for this, so I'm gonna use these. Check the hand, and again, thinking of something cool to do for these tasks. Right now, there's not much outcome besides getting the clue, but as I mentioned before, they're gonna be there's going to be consequences, like you're going to be searching and all that blood and stuff, and it could draw wild animals, so that'll be a cool effect. So you won't just be sitting there, you're going to have to search, and hopefully if something spawns, which I probably won't have any of that going on in the single player, just because you're not going to be able to protect yourself as easy. But yeah, I like those effects. It gives it a good indication when you pick something up. But I got to do a lot more sound effects for certain things, but so far think I got them all without actually having the wraith spawn. So, got to break those down. So you go to the occult table. Yeah, I got 9 of them. That's fine. 8. So I'm gonna break those down. So while they're breaking down, I did a bunch of changes, more on the code behind me to smooth things out. Still working on getting, the highest amount of frames. A lot of that is the light, shadows, and there's just a lot of tweaking, especially when it's high definition rendering pipeline. So a little bit tougher, but it's getting there. Some side note stuff while this breaks down is working on working with someone to have a new trailer created. Just finished updating all the images on our Steam page to new art to kind of, to catch your eye, to show off a little bit of what the game looks like, kind of stand out. The trailer, kind of trying to get something. It's a little tough for the particular game because a lot of the stuff, you're doing investigations, you're searching around. It's fun when you're playing it, but it doesn't show well. So working on that, trying to make an atmospheric demo, something that's kind of horror-like, but there is still action when the bosses spawn. Back to business. Here's a nice crystal floating with some gooey orb-looking thing. All right, again, we'll update these later, but essentially power up the crystal, and boom. I want to add an effect there. Like I said, I want to make it so you actually hear the demons speak, so which it won't be too terribly hard. And all right, we got all the clues except for we got to analyze the clue we found on the body. And see that still got about 8 minutes, so pretty good time here for this one. Again, it's obviously a lot easier for me because I know what I'm looking for. But all right, so other updates too is I did get in the first part of kind of the creature breakdown. Now again, right now it says corrupted primal. That's exactly what it is, and so there's really no guessing. However, it's temporarily. That's a vampire, and if you got the vampires, you can go over here and you can see its weaknesses. Did update this, little details, but ultraviolet bullets. But yeah, for the actual For the actual note clues and stuff, it's gonna be more generic. So, for instance, this one said corrupted blood, so it'll be something similar. Like traces of such and such in the blood, corruption, and then like primeval might be like ancient. There'll be other words that closely resemble it, just to give you, when you're looking for it, you won't know it right off the bat. But just to make it a little bit easier. Alright, so do we have a vampire? And I can show off since we got like 6 minutes. I'm gonna go back to my cult view here. So there's no more crystals to be found, but I do have it active. You can see it highlighted. So what's gonna happen is, after a certain amount of time, right now it's kind of a set number. And the parameters are kind of fixed, but they will vary depending on your level and things like that. Like, essentially, a lower level occultist will have a higher chance of spawning a higher level demon. Right now, the wraith spawns, which is normally for the medium. I'm working on the demon that's going to spawn for the occult side of it, but right now it's a wraith, and there's no change in stats or anything like that. So yeah, it should spawn soon. Anyways, but yeah, it'll basically kind of to incentivize you to level up, and then like your crew, if somebody's a higher level occultist, then it's better for them to be doing the occult stuff. That way, in the event a creature does spawn, it'll be a weaker like a weaker demon opposed to a lower level person having a big one spawn in. So these are like smaller mechanics that I'm working on. Another thing that I'm still working on is traps for the engineer. The engineer right now has shown the least amount of attention to, but they are on the radar now. Obviously, I'll have all that in there before the demo is out, but they're gonna be able to, set down specific traps. And I don't think the occult the thing's gonna spawn, but essentially how the engineer's gonna work is around the level 2, like there'll be metal scraps, wood, there'll be things, and kind of how it fits in the lore is they are slightly demonically touched, maybe not charged, but touched. So yeah, you need those pieces when you build your traps, and we're working on a unique system so that there will be multiple types of multiple types of things you can find. So you may have to look specifically, so that way you're not just going out there and collecting each item, but you may need like scrap metal for the trap for a werewolf, and then you may need scrap wood for a vampire or something like that. So that would give the engineer a chance to go around while everybody's doing their thing. They'll be looking for scraps of wood that are enchanted or whatever, or scraps of metal, and then that way they can build up their little inventory with stuff. Oh, there's another little crystal. I don't think the race could spawn. I might have turned him off for the single player. But real quick, let's just go over. And there's my summoning table. Alright, we said it was a vampire, so alright, so when they summon, everybody hears them, their health bar pops up. It's supposed to pop up. So, and he's around here somewhere. Like, I don't know exactly where he's at, because it's all random, but I know he's here. There he is.
Cover me, I'm reloading!
And he's a funny looking one. Health-wise, it's lower. He didn't put up much of a fight. That's because he's mostly ranged. And also, he's been dumbed down a little bit for single player. His health's usually like 3 times higher. So that'll be some things I work on too. Like, instance for levels like this, where ranged enemies are gonna have a little bit of a disadvantage. So that'll just be something we'll work out. Maybe there'll be a few little NPCs or minions that spawn with him. Something to just help along. But let's check. Alright, nothing new here. I had an actual bug on the character selection, which I actually fixed. Side note that it was kind of funny. Like, if you picked your character, essentially the other person everybody else on the team would look like the character you picked to you, and you would look like the character they picked. Yeah, it was funny, but very irritating. But I got that fixed. This is my test area again. Everybody knows about this, but you get a better view of the the outline effect. I think that works a lot better than have something pop up, because first off, when you're looking down, it popped up above you, and it was a hassle. And now there's no pop-up words, and if later we change up the controls or do stuff like that, or change different languages, things like that, there won't be no pop-up, so it'll be less of a chance of having to change all that. Trying to think, I believe, we did do a lot of passes to try to reduce draw calls. The house is going a little bit better. They are really high detailed, so yeah, there's a lot of LODs and stuff we're working on for those. But yeah, that's gonna be it for this devlog. Can try to keep it short again. Just show new stuff when I got it. Oh, one other piece. I did have a comment on my last video that was mentioning that they like it when it's darker. I can't really tell here. But just a side note, a lot of the videos I have it a bit lighter than it's going to be when the actual game comes out, and that's mainly because it records better. Like, you can, when I have the vision on the other level, they're pretty dark as it is, but I had them even darker, but you couldn't see nothing in the videos. So I do agree with that person that it does look better darker, because it is more of a horror game than like straight up running through action. So yeah, it's gonna be a little bit darker. So again, thanks for the comment from that person. And if anybody else has any comments, put them in the comment section. And as always, check out our Steam page. We do have a Discord. It's obviously brand new, so no one's there yet. So check that out as well. And Facebook, Twitter, all that stuff. Hopefully we get a bunch of people following community, so we can yeah, have a create a super awesome game and have a lot of people enjoy it. All right.